Hello guys and welcome to today's live stream. And today guys we are gonna be ranking every single Pokemon Journeys episode up to episode 93, and I'm gonna have to go into detail on every episode. And then going over the good and bad of each episode. So I believe the first one we've got here is episode 2. Episode 2 basically was technically the first episode, because the episode 1 of Journeys was like Pikachu's backstory. Episode 2 was the first episode of Journeys, and in the first episode we were introduced to Ash's new companion Go, who's obviously with Ash the entire season. we also find out that there is a raid going on in, I believe it's Vermilion City, against Lugia, which of course Ash is interested in taking on. At the same time, Go is researching about Lugia, and basically Ash and Go meet up for the first time when they're on Lugia, and they become friends on the back of Lugia. And I honestly thought the episode was pretty cool. It's actually, and I liked how a good setup for new characters already. And we also met up some of the other characters like Professor Cerise. We also met Chloe. We met her brother Parker. We did meet a lot of characters, which was good. It was a good thing. So yeah, I think this episode for me gets a. I think this episode for me gets a 7 out of 10. It's actually pretty good, but there are obviously a few flaws with the episode. For example, Guy wants to become a researcher, but at the time, until basically episode, I believe it was episode 5 or 6, Guy got his first Pokemon, but it took him a little while to get his Pokemon, which is a little bit annoying, but it made sense. Okay, now episode 1. This is the one where basically we actually learned about the summer camp Ash went to when he was little, and it also gives us Pikachu's backstory. Basically, it was a Pichu, and it wanted to become big and strong and evolved into Pikachu itself at the end of the episode. And of course, it's the same Pikachu that would go on to become Ash's partner. And it bonded with a Kangaskhan, and I thought it was pretty nice. It was pretty nice. I don't think it was as good as episode 2, so I think I'm gonna give it 6 out of 10. I don't think it's anything worse than that though. Okay, episode 7. This was a big episode. This was the first. I would say this was the first big episode of Journeys. So there is this thing called the Battle Frontier Flute Cup, which is basically a battling competition which Ash and Go sign up for, and during this time Go would meet this guy called Hodge, who is from the Hoenn region, and he's pretty mean to Go and Scorbunny, and Go and Scorbunny, and basically Go and Scorbunny have to face him in one of the rounds, and Go gets destroyed. Well, on the other hand, Ash is doing really, really well, because of course this is him just fresh off the Alola League, and yeah, and he defeats Hodge. But it's really cool because this is the first time we saw Mr. Mime battle. Ash actually caught Mr. Mime off screen a long time ago, and we never knew it's actually Ash's, and it was really sick. It actually cleaned up against Hoji's Hariyama, and even though we didn't fight his Mariana, Pikachu dealt with that pretty quick. But yeah, honestly, I love this episode. I love this episode. Honestly, I think this episode is actually a 9 out of 10. I think it's really, really good. The first big episode of Journeys, and it was a really good one. So, alright, so now the next one is actually I believe this is episode 8. So this is the one where Ash and basically this pit pup has swam all the way from the Sinnoh region to the Cerise Labs, and basically its trainer calls the lab and basically says that her Pokémon is there, and we see this when it's swimming around in the sinks of the Cerise Lab. So, and basically they have to go to Sinnoh to sort it out and find its trainer. But at the same time, they take part in a race, in this water-type race, and as time Go uses his newly called Man-type, and Ash uses, well, Pikachu, of course, because he didn't have any other Pokemon with him at this time. And we found out the reason Pip went all the way to the Viridian City encounter was because it was jealous of her trainer's Krogunk. But at the end of the episode, after they of course battle Team Rocket, Krogunk and Pip don't become jealous of each other anymore, and they actually become friends, which was a really cool idea. I definitely think this is the weakest episode we ranked so far, because there are issues with this episode, like obviously, like, of course, this was kinda, this was right after Flute Cup episode. This was kind of an underwhelming return to Sinnoh, for the first return of Sinnoh in Journeys. Luckily, Sinnoh's been wrestling a lot more recently because of obviously the new games, but for a first return to Sinnoh, it was a little underwhelming, but hey. Oh man, guys, I'm gonna see this episode after I rank it. Episode 10 broke the internet. Episode 10, the one where Ash caught Dragonite, this episode broke the internet when it happened. Like, this is a mega occasion. Like, this was the first time, this was actually his first catch of the season, and it was a Dragonite. So basically, the plot was that basically Ash and Go went to this island, the Dragonite Island, for research, and basically while they were there, this Dragonair was trying to learn how to fly like its fellow Dragonites, and Ash would help it learn the move Dragon Dance, which of course is a really good move. And yeah, basically Dragonair and Ash started to bond over each other, and basically Team Rocket would later show up, and it would try to catch up all the Dragonites, and basically Ash gets knocked into the air and is falling down, right? And then basically the Dragonair that Ash helped evolves into Dragonite and saves him. And then after that, Ash pulled out a Pokeball, and Dragonite just happily accepts. Like, it was awesome. It was so awesome to see Ash own a Dragonite, a Pokemon we never thought he would ever own in the show. And yeah, I thought it was awesome that he got a Dragonite. This is the Ho-Oh episode. This episode is definitely controversial. I don't remember really liking it too much. I think for me, it's like 3 out of. I don't think people I really like this episode, and love it don't. Basically, the plot is like basically this man who doesn't believe Ho-Oh exists, but the issue with this is that we know Ho-Oh exists because basically, Ash has encountered Ho-Oh multiple times on his journey, and basically Ash tries to tell this man that Ho-Oh does exist, but he just doesn't believe it. And then basically it doesn't come to the end of the episode where basically Ho-Oh finally shows up and the man finally believes it. Like, there weren't really much of a story with this episode, and yeah. Okay, so I believe this episode here is I believe this is the episode where we first encountered Gengar. I thought this was interesting, definitely. I'm gonna give this episode here 6 out of 10. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good at that. They set up. It was basically these weird phenomenons were happening at the lab, and well, basically, turns out the phenomena are happening because of a Gengar that's gone wild in the Speyere labs, and they basically have to try and defeat this Gengar that is crazy, but like it has like insane moves. And this is the first time we saw Chloe actually battle with her Yamper, and it was pretty cool. That was pretty cool because we actually saw it defeat the Gengar for a temporary bit of time, because obviously we know Gengar comes back later. But yeah, I thought this was pretty cool, and I thought it was like a nice setup because people were also trying to catch this Gengar, and we didn't know why Gengar was acting like this until episode 16 when it returned. But yeah, I thought this was a pretty fun episode. What's next? Episode 3. Okay, episode 3 was a big episode of Journeys. But episode 3, I do believe, was the first big episode of Journeys. When I mean big episode, I mean like the first episode where because this was the first episode where Team Rocket came back, and Team Rocket were packing heat. They had a Tyranitar and a Gyarados, and almost defeated Ash. They almost defeated him. They were packing heat, and I loved how serious Team Rocket was. They started Team Rocket in the series. They unfortunately haven't kept Team Rocket up this entire time like that. But yeah, I honestly thought this was really fun. It was a callback to I believe it was Bulbasaur's Mysterious Garden, all the way back in the original series. And I liked how they started fleshing out Go and Ash's characters. But honestly, I think this episode for me, it's actually quite enjoyable. I'm gonna actually put it an 8, because I think it's actually a really enjoyable episode for me. What's the next? Oh, don't even get me started on this. This episode is still one of the best. This is still one of the best episodes of Journeys. So basically, Ash and Go would get these tickets to go to the Pokémon World Championship Finals of Leon versus Lance. This was an epic way to introduce Lance, epic way to introduce Leon, but also an epic way to bring that return of Lance. And this battle was really good. And it was actually a really close battle, but of course Leon defeats Lance in the end, which I thought it was really sick, because we saw this is the first time we were introduced to Dynamax, and this episode we were introduced to the World Championships, which obviously we know now, which we obviously now know is Ash's big goal of the series. And I thought this was really sick. This was honestly a very sick episode. Definitely one of my favourites of Journeys, and probably still will remain one of my favourites. Okay, so this is episode 6, where we basically have Go just going on an absolute catching spree in Journeys. And basically Go catches all the Kanto bug types of the region. And yeah, I thought this was a really good episode for Go, because it finally gave Go some the first bit of development towards his goal, of course, catching a Mew. And yeah, I thought this was a really, really nice episode. Honestly, also good, and also it was also really kind that we saw Ash support Go's goal. So this episode for me was actually a pretty nice one. I remember this at 7 out of 10. I thought this was pretty good. Okay, episode 4. The episode where we first go to the Galar region. I thought this was actually pretty I would say average, but which is a good thing for a Pokemon episode. So basically, the plot is Ash and go to the Galar region for the first time, and this is where we met Go's school bunny that he would catch in the next episode, and it introduced us to, it also introduced us to like how Galar was gonna be in the series, and I thought Galar was quite interesting as a region. I think Galar was a very interesting region. Because even though it's based on the UK, I still find it a very interesting region, and this episode definitely was a good. I thought it definitely was a good introduction to the Galar region. So for this, I'm gonna give it 6 out of 10. I thought it was a good way to introduce us to Galar. Episode 5. This was the first time we would learn about Dynamax and Gigantamaxing. So the plot is they've gone to the wild area, and the school bunny that Go met has followed him all the way there. And at the end of the episode, Go would get his first catch being school bunny, which I thought was awesome. I thought it was really awesome. And basically, there's this giant Snorlax that it was always big before it Gigantamax. Then it Gigantamax. Basically, it Gigantamax, and it was blocking the railroads, and Ash and Go had to try and move it off the railroads, and they couldn't. So what they had to do was that they had to go up to this tree that had fruits in it, or berries in it, and they had to basically try and knock these berries out the tree, and basically, yeah. They try and knock the berries out the tree and gets on to eat them, and so basically he rolls off of the track, which does work in the end, luckily. But I honestly thought this was a really interesting way to introduce us to the world of Dynamax and Gigantamax, and I think it definitely was an interesting start. So because it introduced us to, I think this is also going to be a 6 out of 10 for me. Okay, this episode is going straight to the top. This episode was more breaking. This episode broke the internet more than Ash getting Dragonite. Ash getting a Riolu. This was one of the mons we've always wanted Ash to get. Ever since he was established with Aura, it was 15 years, by the way, 15 years we were waiting for Ash to get a Riolu, and it finally happened, and it was awesome. And we immediately saw their bond the moment it comes out the egg, because we find out that Ash's Aura only activates when he's battling. So basically, in the episode, Ash was battling a guy in the World Coronation Series, and his aura went off, and it caused Riolu's egg to go crazy. And however, when Riolu hatches from the egg, basically, Riolu basically runs off to look for the trainer. That was actually Ash at the time, but obviously he didn't know because he wasn't battling at the time. And he basically ran off and started to fight other wild Pokemon, and Ash was find an Onix, and then basically at that point, Riolu was sent Ash's Aura, and they would fight together against his Onix, and it was so cool. It was so cool that we saw this, and at the end, Ash catches Riolu, which honestly made me so happy that he finally got this Pokemon. It's one of my favorites of all the time, and I'm really happy that a fan favorite that we were all waiting for a long time finally came to his team. This episode, this was just weird. Basically, it was focused around Team Rocket and this Ditto in this filming thing. I don't remember all the episodes directly, but yeah, it was basically them in a film. They were basically doing a film thing, and this Ditto wanted to help out, but it didn't really do much, and They didn't really do much of the episode, but the thing that was good for that it bonded with like Jessie. It got really close with her, which I thought was nice. But that's really it. Okay, this one here, I believe this one here is episode 24, which is when Team Rocket went on vacation in the Sinnoh region. But however, I thought this was a really unique episode because basically, well, Matori, who is like I think she's like the person who works under Giovanni. She basically has scheduled this thing in Sinnoh where basically they go around stealing all the trainers' Pokemon, and well, Jessie and James were told to take a vacation. So basically they went in the way to like mess up their plan. And Team Rocket is actually successful in taking Pikachu. Well, not Jessie and James, but actual Team Rocket. But luckily, Jessie and James actually help out. Yeah, Jessie and James, because they got annoyed, they actually help out Ash and Go, and they basically all work together to take down Matori and her like insane like elite grunt. Her grunts were cracked. Her grunts were like cracked in this, and yeah, I thought it was really sick. That'd be funny. That'd be funny in an episode where Jessie and James weren't actually Ash's enemies, which I thought was really cool. Oh, the first big World Combination Series battle. Oh, this was fucking crazy. This was crazy at the time. So basically, Ash went to this battle festival where you could increase your rank in the World Combination Series or the World Championships. But basically, he comes across Carino, who is an old gym leader he had fought in the XY series, and basically Ash and Karina get drawn up against each other, and even though Gengar gets wrecked, like Gengar gets destroyed, Ash's Dragonite, literally his first battle, it comes out and literally wrecks Karina's entire team. They basically Dragon Danced on her Mean Shell. And when it double slapped, it was basically using it as a fucking counter shield, which was something Ash learned all the way back in Sinnoh. And basically, when it came back in for an attack, Dragonite overpowered it almost immediately and knocked it out in one hit. Then after that, she immediately Mega Evolves her Lucario. And it is clashes after clashes with Power Punch, Dragon Claw, Hurricane, Oysters, like, it was crazy. But the craziest part was that basically Ash's Dragonite tried to execute Hyper Beam, but it was too slow, and Oyster hit it, and then that's like, her Lucario ran on a rampage, and just spammed Power Punch over and over and over. And it looked like Dragonite was down, but the Dragonite was still standing after all that punishment. Like, bro. And then after that, it was Lucario was basically beyond Plastic's attack. And then basically Dragonite just finishing it with a Dragon Claw. But it was such a close match, and it was fucking epic. And that isn't the only match. This is another match. This is another insane match from Journeys. This is the first World Combination Series. I think this was as good as episode 7. This was insane because this was the first time Ash used his Gengar. So basically, Ash was planning that basically. Well, he wanted to fight someone big in the World College Series, so basically he could boost his rank up from the start. And he basically came across Viscus, who who was place holding Surge because Surge was out training. Basically, Surge was out training, and basically she mentions that Surge still remembers Ash from the battle they had all the way back in the Kanto region, which was really happy that he still remembered Ash, and we saw a flashback of it. And then after that, we had a 2v2. It started Pikachu versus Raichu, and Pikachu was getting kind of wrecked. So basically, Ash withdrew and brought in Gengar, and Gengar went to town on Raichu. It first of all tried to Thunderbolt. It tried to use Volta. So basically, it was Ash's Gengar started with Nightshade, and she does Thunderbolt. Immediately gets overpowered. Then it went for Ice Punch. Ice Punch hits it. Then after Raichu lands, it tries to Volt Tackle, and Ash's Gengar is like, fuck that shit. Then he picks it up with Psychic and just lobs it into a wall. Bro, his Gengar was a menace in this fight. And yeah, Raichu was done like after that. And then after that, she went out her Electrode, which was equal match on Gengar. And obviously Gengar does go down to her Electrode, but it gets some damage off with Psychic. And then of course we have Pikachu versus Electro, and basically Electrode's aftermath activates, but however Ash always plans, and he basically uses Electro Web to use Electro Web on himself, and it blocks him with all the damage. And because aftermath being an ability that happens after you faint, Ash wins the battle. And I thought it was crazy. It was a crazy fight. Oh, this episode, oh my god, just back to back great episodes. This wasn't as good as the first part. So basically, after Ash saw Leon, fight Lance and win. They basically early in the episode, this Gigantamax Dreadnought had gone on a rampage. Ash and got to try and calm it. However, they accidentally fall onto a power spot, and Pikachu Gigantamaxes. And Leon notices that Ash doesn't have a Dynamax stand, because obviously you have to have a Dynamax stand to Dynamax in Galar. And basically, Ash doesn't know what to do, and then basically Leon helps him out by telling Pikachu to use G-Max Volt Crash. And basically, then of course we need Team Rockets and their new Rotom phone they had at the time, which it's funny, that one. And basically Ash and Go are sitting down, and then Leon shows up, and Leon wants to battle Ash. Ash and Leon have a battle. Leon gets Ash's Dynamax down, which he is allowed to keep after the battle, and I'm just gonna say Ash gets kind of destroyed by Leon. Almost Pikachu cannot execute an attack, and as soon as the final explains for the collide, Ash's Dynamax stand is activate, and Pikachu gets its first hit on Charizard. And then after that, Leon Gigantamaxes his Charizard. Pikachu can't handle the Gigantamax. And basically, the final attacks are G-Max Rock Crash and G-Max Wildfire. And Pikachu does end up losing, but it makes sense for Ash to lose to Leon, since he's Ash could obviously set up Ash's goal, and then end of the episode, Ash decides Leon, he wants to fight Leon as his main goal, and he's gonna enter the World Championships, which is obviously what he's done in Journeys. But I honestly thought this was really, really good. I thought this was a really good start for Ash's goal this season. Oh, so now we're on to episode 23. Okay, so episode 23, this was an episode where basically, food was going missing around the park, and it was causing all the Pokemon to basically go crazy. And they first thought it was Gengar, but then basically it was really funny. Basically, Gengar was angry, couldn't say that, and he came up from behind Ash and then shadow balled him. It was really funny. It was really funny. But yeah, I really like this. I want this episode was a really funny one. This was a really, really funny episode. So I'm gonna keep this here. I'll keep it at 5 out of 10. Okay. This episode 20 was an episode we all really underrated. Was really underrated by all of us, and I actually think it was a really good episode. Basically, Ash and Go have to go out and basically teach these kids a lot of stuff about Pokemon, and and also in this episode, Ash and Go obviously established their dream. Goes the dream obviously being to catch Mew, and Ash's dream is to defeat Leon and become a Pokemon Master as well, of course. And basically, these kids actually watch Ash battle in a World Championship battle against this guy and his Meganium, which of course Ash wins. And I thought it was really cool. And then basically at the end of the episode, we actually see Mew show up for right at the end. As for Go's to show Go's dream, and I thought it was awesome. I thought this was a really good episode. Okay, the Gengar episode. The episode where Ash gets Gengar. This was big. This was a big episode. Basically, the Gengar came back, and we finally found out why Gengar was acting like it was, and that was because Gengar was actually abandoned by its original trainer, and so basically this trainer had left Gengar behind its entire life. But basically it told him to wait in this one spot, which of course came to 3 slabs. And he waited there for about 3 years. I think it was 3 years, and it just got angry and it started attacking everyone. And then in the episode, it actually kind of possessed Ash, kinda. And that, however, as the episode went on, Gengar got closer and closer to turn to Ash, and basically get Ash after beating Team Rocket with Gengar. Ash actually passes out, but Gengar actually carries Ash all the way to the lab, and after that, Ash catches Gengar, and I thought it's really cool that we finally got to see Ash get this iconic ghost type, and it really does suit Ash's battle style and everything, and I'm really happy he finally got Gengar. Alright, so now the next episode is I believe this is episode 20, is it 24 or is it 23? It's one of those two. And then basically, Go tries to release, basically in this episode, Go tries to release his rap boot. Because it's, I think it could explain his love for dancing and that. But in the end, Raboot decides to stay with Go because of all the friendship and that they have formed over their journey. So this episode, for me, I think I'm going to give. I think this is also a 6 out of 10 as well. Next episode is Raid Battles at the Ruin. This is episode 14, and this was a really fun episode. This was a really good comeback for Unova. Because basically in this episode, as a Go have gone to the ruins in Unova or something. And basically, they come across this giant Golem that they have to battle in a raid battle. And Ash, and in this battle, Ash using his Dragonite, and Go using his newly caught Darmanitan and Dragonite, and Darmanitan were doing stick combos and everything in this fight. And honestly, this is for me a very enjoyable episode. This is a really enjoyable episode, and for me, I think this is actually one of the best Journeys episodes. I think this is going to be an 8 out of 10 for me. Okay, now we've got now episode 17, the episode where Score Bunny evolves. This is a controversial episode because of how Go was treating Score Bunny before its evolution. They got after evolved, Score Bunny went into a really edgy and into a really edgy phase. And yeah, but I like how they developed it up because at this point it didn't know a fire move, and I liked how it trained extremely hard. And it trained so hard, in fact, that it ended up evolving into a it trained so hard that it ended up evolving into a Raboot. So this episode for me, I'm going to use 5. Yeah, put it there. Okay, Cubone. This episode basically Go lost. I think he lost his bus ticket. Ash finds it, and basically the episode mainly focuses around Go. And in this episode, basically these Mankey are picking on this Cubone, and the Cubone is really sad, and basically Go agrees to help it find its bone, and after that, Cubone and Go really bond with each other, and then Go catches Cubone at the end of the episode, which I thought they did pretty well with this, but I can't make it too high. I put it here, but I do like what they did with Go and Cubone, but the rest of the episode was just meh for me. Oh, you know where the Alola return's going, fellas. You know exactly where that shit is going. The Alola return is easily one of the best and biggest episodes of Pokemon Journeys. So much fan service. We've got Ash's classmates, Ash's old Pokemon, development for Go, development for Ash, everything. We actually had everything, and we met Ash's little, well, how do I say, don't know, brother to say, kind of his stepbrother, because, well, actually they're not related, but it's sort of his Alola family. They had a kid at the end of Sun and Moon, and we didn't know until what they looked like until this series, and I'm really happy how it's still one of the best Journeys episodes now, and I just hope we get more of Alola soon. Which actually we will be. Well, we'll see one of the Alola characters back in a few episodes, and I'm really excited. So, what is the next one? Oh no! This episode is really rad. It's really out of place as well for Ash. Basically, in this episode, In this episode, Ash has been really busy training with Riolu and sort of really ignoring Pikachu. And when Pikachu's tried the battle, Ash doesn't let it, and then Pikachu gets so mad it actually leaves the lab, and Mr. Mime has to find it. At the end of the episode, Ash apologizes to Pikachu, and they reunite, and then Pikachu does a little troll face when he thunderbolts Ash, and it's freaking cute. But yeah, this episode I'm not a big fan of because of it's just weird to see, because Ash never normally disrespects Pikachu like this. Okay, next is this episode 26? Let me just check. Is that episode 26? I think it is. Yeah, that's episode 26. This is gonna be tough to rank, because these are two-parters. Okay, even though most of the two-parters are damn bad, this one actually isn't as bad as the other ones. You know, I'm gonna put it here because I don't think it's as bad as the other two-parters. Because the other two-parters, oh my god, they are awful. So those two guys, the two-part One of them is a Magikarp jump competition, and the other one is basically Ash and go to this Slowpoke Island, and then basically Ash gets bit by the shoulder, and he turns into a freaking British person. It's jokes. It's jokes. The episode is just the second part. The second part is what gets it for me so high. It's funny. The first part is good as well. Basically, Magikarp jumped so high, it went into space. And then in the Slowking episode, in the Slowking part, in the Slowpoke part, it came back down and freaking sent everyone flying. It was freaking crazy. It was funny. This is definitely the best two-part we've had. What's the next episode? This one. This one is just, yeah, same as it. You know, I'm gonna put it now. I don't think that's better either. Yeah, put it here. So this is an episode where basically a girl at, I don't know if it's Chloe or Parker's, I think it's Parker's school, she's getting bullied by these people because of her Pokemon Feedbass, which of course, which we know, is one of the most ugliest Pokemon. And basically, these bullies are bullying her, and well, Chloe tells Ash and Go about it, and they agreed to help her out with her Feedbass, and there's a little race, little beauty competition going on. I believe it's in Hoenn, and basically they had to do some training for it. And during the competition, when Team Rocket attacks, we have her Feedbass evolve into Milotic and win the competition, which I thought was pretty awesome, because it started off as, you know, a Pokemon that was not very popular, and then it became very popular because of what it did. Okay, this is episode 38, the one where Go gets Aerodactyl. Okay, this episode for me really felt out of place. Because this was happening during the time when Ash lost to B, like after the events, before the events of the second rematch, before the events of the rematch. Which I honestly think was a bit rushed, but yeah, we'll get to that soon. Basically, this episode, Go and Ash get invited to this Pewter City, like thing where they're basically looking at fossils, and they see Ash Go and Chloe. And this is when Chloe goes out in an episode with the boys, which was pretty awesome, and we saw her go out. Basically, they usually go mining from fossils, and Go finds an old amber, which of course is an Aerodactyl. Basically, they leave it over the restoration for the night, so they could, so it can get revived. But basically, while they're asleep, Team Rocket show up, and Team Rocket sort of messes up everything, and causes the Aerodactyl to be revived prematurely. And it also caused the Aerodactyl to go absolutely crazy. So Ash and Go have to get up in the middle of the night, and basically Ash fights Team Rocket, and at the same time, and then they can go after kind of this Aerodactyl, and after he calms down with his Golurk, Go catches the Aerodactyl. And I think that's pretty cool. Aerodactyl is definitely Go's strongest. And for me, I think this is around the middle of the pack for me. I think this is a 6 out of 10. Okay, episode 35, where Go gets a Pikachu. This episode was definitely a bait on Ash's Pikachu evolving, because in this episode, basically, in the preview, we saw the Pikachu chasing Ash's Pikachu behind a rock, and then basically a glowing would happen. So, to bait us all to think Pikachu was gonna evolve, which we knew they weren't gonna do, which we knew they weren't gonna do it. Yeah, basically, they go to this place where there's an outbreak of Pikachu, because Go actually wants to get a Pikachu, and basically this female Pikachu bonds with Go really fast, and he catches the female Pikachu. But at the same time, Team Rocket is there to surprise, they want Pikachu. But they don't take Ash's Pikachu this time. They take every single Pikachu there, And basically Pikachu has to evolve as they basically have a thunder. They find a thunder stone earlier in the episode, and goes Pikachu. So this is anyone that's not been like put in with the other Pikachus. Throws it a thunderstone, evolves into Raichu, and it breaks out all the other Pikachu, and Team Rocket get bombarded by every single Pikachu's in Thunderbolt. So this episode for me, I think is pretty good. I'll put it here, yeah. Okay, Sobble's debut. Sobble's debut was interesting, to say the least. Sobble is a Pokemon that does cry a lot, and when it does cry, it causes you to cry, which is a really interesting concept for Pokemon. So basically, this was teased at the end of episode 27. But basically, after Ash catches Galarian Farfetch'd, Sobble will show up, and it basically runs off, and that sets up for the next episode, where basically Sobble is causing a little bit of chaos by it crying. It's causing everyone else to cry, and basically Sobble is like obviously trying to steal, was also trying to eat their food, and basically, well, Sobble was really timid and scared, and basically what happens was that basically after go randomly threw a Pokeball in the fountain and actually caught Sobble, which a lot of us did not like. I was sort of in that boat, but I don't mind it now, because I think Inteleon really suits him now. And basically, the episode, Team Rocket kidnapped Sobble, and basically, it starts crying, it causes them to cry, and then basically, because Team Rocket's gotcha Pokemon, I don't know which ones it was, I can't remember what they were. They were basically holding it down, and it's causing it to cry, but however, Sobble became brave after believed in it, and Sobble, with the help of Ash, of course, took down Team Rocket. And then, of course, Go and Sobble would then bond from that point. Honestly, I used to hate this episode, but honestly, I don't mind it as much anymore, because I think Sobble needs to go now. Okay, episode, which episode is this? Is it? I think it's in one of the late 20s, or it's one of the ones in the early 30s. I think it's maybe episode 30 or 29. So this is an episode where basically Yampa brings in a random Pidove, and they need to become friends, and its owner's it's missing from its trainer. And yeah, they need to bond over it, and they ask about the trainer, which we all thought was in it Chloe was gonna catch this Pidove. But yeah, honestly, this episode wasn't too good for me, at least. Okay, the first of Ash and B's first of their 3 battles. The first battle. So this battle, Ash got destroyed. I cannot say more than that. Ash got destroyed by B. Basically, B was about 150 places above Ash, and then Ash was going there extremely cocky and overconfident, and he basically because how much training we already have put in at this point. So the first matchup was Farfetch'd, which had not battled at this point, versus her Halucha, and his Farfetch'd almost got one shot. Basically, they set up with Hone Claws, Ash used Night Slash, Halucha basically deflected it, got in there, got off a karate chop, then after that Farfetch'd span around, managed to hit it with a brutal swing, then after that B just used that momentum and landing a flying press, knocking out Farfetch'd. After that, they immediately recalled her Halucha for Graplocked, and Graplocked was brutal. Grapploct was brutal, guys. Basically, Grapploct, pretty much Ash, well, Riolu wanted the battle, so Riolu went in against Grapploct. I gotta say though, Riolu gave it a pretty decent fight. That the power level was just way too different. Grapploct had so many advantages. Every single time Ash tried to get close, Grapploct just tried to grab it, and when it Octo-locked the first time, Ash managed to get it off by basically making Riolu kick its feet against the ground and knock up onto its back. At that point, Ash really should have done an attack while it was on the ground, because it wouldn't have been able to do much. But instead, we have a collision with reversal and liquidation, and it's round equally powered, but Riolu gets tired, and then after that, Grapple just goes back in again. Octo locks it. This time, Ash cannot escape. B tells him, "You might as well just surrender now, because or other than has to defeat you." And then of course, Ash doesn't give up, and Riolu gets liquidation and knocked out, and Ash does not defeat a single Pokemon to B. I honestly thought this I actually really loved seeing Ash get destroyed. I'm really on the side of Ash winning a battle, but I love seeing Ash get absolutely destroyed by an opponent that he had no idea how to counter. The next one is this episode, the first and only episode without Ash. Pokemon Journeys episode 32, and honestly, even though I'm a big Ash fan, I'm also a Go fan, so I actually really like this episode because it gave Go his, basically, in this episode, Go goes back to a spot where he went when he was little, and basically at this spot he had met his friend who was called Tokyo, and basically they bonded over there, and Tokyo's dream actually is to catch Celebi, which is of course a parallel to Go's goal of him. A parallel of Go's goal, which was of course him catching Mew. And of course, and unfortunately, no, Tokyo had to leave, and as a Go for his friend abandoned him, but he didn't, because later in the episode, they come back and meet each other a few years later. Well, pretty much in the modern area. And honestly, I really like this because it gave Go his backstory and everything. I really actually liked this episode. It was really, really good. Oh, this episode, the Flygon episode, episode 36. This was an incredible episode for Go. Ash was at this point he was depressed. Basically, at the start of this episode, Ash fights in the World Combination Series, loses 2 times in a row, and he gets knocked down to the normal class again. He gets really demotivated and sad. And well, at the same time, in Hoenn, there's a song going on in a sandstorm, and it's basically luring people into this sandstorm. And basically, Ash and Go to Hoenn to investigate what's going on, and they go to the desert, and Go catches a Trapinch and a Vibara pretty easily. But of course, this is Go's first really big battle since episode 7. He has to fight the Flygon with his Raboot, and it's Raboot, Sobble, Riolu, and Pikachu versus Flygon. Pikachu doesn't do much because of course electric moves do not work on ground types. Sobble actually did pretty well. It managed to cloak off the sandstorm it was doing. But it wasn't enough, and then Riolu was just getting good vacuum wave hits on it. But of course, then after Dragon lost, and it didn't take down Riolu, but yeah, Ash gave up because of his loss. And then after that, Go sends in Raboot, and Raboot does a sick combo. Basically, it does a combo that Ash did all back in X and Y, where basically he climbed Draco Meteor. Go's Raboot did the exact same move. He did climb Draco Meteor, Then it used Ember on the Dracomir and sent it flying in massive chunks, hitting Flygon, and gave Go the chance to catch it, and he got Flygon. And honestly, Go mentioned that he learned that strat from Ash was really, really cool for me. I love that. And honestly, I think this is one of the best Journeys episodes that isn't like, because it has plenty of development for the characters. Honestly, this is definitely one of my favorite battles. This is definitely one of my favorite Journeys episodes, because it's just so good. Okay, next episode. Okay, so this one is in a few sections. Well, it's not a two-parter, but it's sort of in sections, so I'll go over the sections. So the first section is Leon versus Raihan. And Raihan was a threat. Raihan was low-key wrecking Leon's Charizard. It was using an insane attack that used Metal Claw combo, because it got a closed Metal Claw it. Then basically Charizard flew up. It used Stone Edge. Then after that, I think we Flamethrower and Steel Beam collisions. Steel Beam won out, hit Charizard for even more damage, and Charizard was really damaged. But of course, Leon Gigantamax and Raihan also Gigantamaxed, and despite all this, all the damage Charizard took, Raihan loses to Leon, which again is not surprising because Leon's the one monarch. But it was really cool to see Raihan fight Leon. Now, the second part is after the battle, Ash and Go onto a bridge, and a Galarian Farfetch walks onto the bridge. Of course, Go and Ash want to catch it. What happens is that it starts with Go's Farfetch'd versus this Galarian Farfetch'd, and Go's Farfetch gets wrecked pretty fast, actually. Really, really fast. It kind of gets wrecked, and basically after it loses, Riolu comes out with Pokeball, and Riolu and Farfetch have a pretty good fight, where in the end, Farfetch was able, Riolu was able to win, and but however, Farfetch, Ash took Farfetch to Pokemon Center, and then basically he had it out back with Riolu, and Farfetch wanted to go with Ash, and yeah, that's how we got Ash's Farfetch'd. And honestly, I thought this episode was actually really good. It's actually really good because it gave us a few things. It gave us like Ash's Farfetch'd. It also gave us another member of the Masters 8, being of course Raihan, and yeah, it was a really good episode. Okay, now we are on to episode 34. The pretty much she was the crazy blog lady. Basically, this lady from the Sinnoh region, but they at this trade festival with Ash and Go, which they were going there for, and basically, she noticed Go has a Pinsir, and she was wanting a Pinsir, and she was gonna trade Go a Heracross. But of course, because Pinsir is a Pokemon Go responded with, he doesn't want to trade it. So what they decided to do instead is that basically instead they go out and look for another Pinsir. But before that, Ash and the girl, what I believe her name was Cricketune Kylie, have a welcome relationship battle. And Ash pretty quickly defeats her Heracross, but the Heracross is pretty strong. So basically they go out now, go and look for this Pinsir. Team Rocket is of course there, but they're looking for food because basically back in the base, Morpeko keeps eating all the food that they have stored, and yeah. Of course, they're about Team Rocket. Team Rocket gets sent off flying, and then they find this Pinsir, and Go trades this new Pinsir for a Heracross. And so in the end, Go gets a new Pokemon, and the lady gets a new Pokemon. Honestly, I actually quite like this because I thought this was a pretty nice way to give Go a Pokemon. So yeah, I can go there. Okay, episode 51. The start of Farfetch's redemption. So up to this point, Farfetch didn't really do much battling. Farfetch had not battled at this point at all since B. And so basically all that's Pokemon were training. Farfetch was left out, and Farfetch wanted to battle and get stronger. So basically Ash goes out with Farfetch to the rock tunnel. Farfetch is smashing up rocks, and then all of a sudden Ash gets a World Coronation Series notification, and he fights this guy in his gem and his girder, and it's actually a really long fight, but it's really good. It's one of the best fights in Journey, surprisingly. They're basically exchanging attacks, and in the end, Farfetch wins by breaking Girder's steel beam. It breaks through a steel beam. But yeah, and then after that, however, this guy called Windtyro has been watching the battle the entire time, and has been judging at his Farfetch, and basically, him and Farfetch have a battle, Glade versus Farfetch. But however, Farfetch is tired at this point because of the battle we just had. So very quickly, Farfetch gets wrecked. Farfetch loses to one false swipe, which I don't blame, because obviously it was obviously tired. But yeah, honestly, I thought this was a really, really fun episode, and I thought it's one of the best battles of Journeys up to this point. Okay, what's the next one? Oh, okay, so episode... This is 47, isn't it? Yeah, this is 47. This is last minute in the two parts. So basically, in the first part, Ash and Go to an eating competition with their Pokemon. Ash and Go had to decide who they're going to use, but unfortunately, Lucario and Cinderace weren't really much of eaters, so instead, Ash got Dragonite, and Go got his Squirrel, which of course loves to eat. And the first one happened, and Ash is already out, because it turned out Dragonite isn't really much of an eater either. And basically, in the competition, Team Rocket is there with Morpeko, and the finals comes down to Morpeko versus Squirrel. And basically, after, Squirrel got tired, and Go is one tray behind Team Rocket, and after motivation, Squirrel evolves into Greedon, and Greedon wins the competition after Morpeko sends off Team Rocket flying. But yeah, I actually thought this was a really nice. Development episode for another one of Ghost Pokemon, because this one didn't really have much development up to this point. Okay, this is one of the parts of Darkest Day. I'm gonna wait till we get to all the Darkest Day, and then I'm gonna make it all together in terms of the episodes. Okay, so that means we'll go to episode 50, the episode where Ash catches Dracovish. Dracovish, man. Bro, if you haven't heard Dracovish's freaking cry in the anime, please watch it in Japanese. The fucking cry is funny as hell. But anyway, let's get into this. So basically, Ash and Go to the Galar region. They're go for more fossils, and while they're there, they meet these two scientist guys, and they get pretty lazy, and basically they go around and combine the fossils that they find. Of course, the one of them being Dracovish, and the other one being Octozolt. And Dracovish and Octozolt kind of go on a rampage. Well, not really Dracovish. Octozolt kind of goes on a rampage. And how Go uses his newly caught Boulder, which is caught earlier in the episode, to fight the Octozolt. What is happening? Dracovish is just running around, and they find water, and then basically Ash goes in the water with Dracovish, and they all he wanted was water, and then after that Dracovish ran all the way back, and only for Octozolt to be knocked out by Dracovish just running into it. Then after that, the fossil people are like, well, since you two can handle them, do you want to take them along with you? And they agree, and Ash and Go take Dracovish and Arctozolt. This was definitely, though, for me, the weakest episode in terms of Ash getting a capture. But I don't think it was inherently too bad. Well, this next episode, I'm not saying anything about it because I'm sorry. This is one of the worst, if not the worst Pokemon episodes, not just Pokemon Journeys, but the entire fucking show. Literally, nothing happens. This one of the two. This by the way, is one of those two parties I mentioned about. This was awful. This was bad. This was so bad. The next, okay, what we got? We got the Zapdos raid episode. Oh, okay, so this is definitely one of the best episodes. You're basically in this episode, basically a thundercloud has formed over Vermilion City, and of course Ash and Go and investigate what it is, and turns out it was Zapdos. So Zapdos has moved to the power plant. So basically they head to the power plant, and running to Team Rocket there, we were looking for a new base, coincidentally enough, because I think they're just trying to get away from Morpeko. But however, Team Rocket decide to have a raid battle with Ash and Go to take down Zapdos, and Team Rocket had to get some good ones. They get a Stunfisk and a Rhydon, but their Pokemon don't really follow commands, and they just don't do anything against Zapdos. Well, at the same time, Go's Raboot is trying its hardest to fight. Go's Raboot is trying its hardest to fight the Zapdos, but Zapdos knocks it down with an electric attack, and basically Zapdos flies up to the roof, and Go and Raboot go and chase it. Ash was also gonna chase, but classic Team Rocket, they change to the evil selves, and Ash has to fight off Team Rocket while Go goes to the roof on his own to fight Zapdos. But to get the aerial advantage, he would also bring out his Flygon, which would definitely help. It lands a Dragon Breath on Zapdos. Go tries to catch it with a Pokeball, but it breaks out. And after that, they fight more. Ash manages to get out of the fight with Team Rocket, luckily. Heads up to the roof, but basically says to Go, this is your fight, you can take this fight, you can take this fight. And basically, they do a Draco Meteor thing again, but basically, if the Draco Meteor is distracted, there's one of Thunderbolts. Rabbit jumps off of a Draco Meteor, and lands a Blaze Kick, and lands a devastating Blaze Kick on Zapdos. Go throws a Pokeball at Zapdos. It rocks 3 times, but lightning comes down, shatters the Pokeball, and Zapdos flies off. So Go just didn't get Zapdos, but he got very close to doing it. And this is definitely one of Go's best feats of the anime. So overall, this is one of my favourite episodes of Pokemon Journeys so far. So this episode for me can go pretty high up. I think this for me is a 7 out of 10. I really love this episode. Okay, what is next? Okay, so there's another part of this on top. Like I say, so next episode is yes, this one episode I really wanted to cover. Mewtwo's episode. This episode immediately for me, I love this episode. I'm going all the way up. But not to 10 out of 10. I'm giving this 9 out of 10. This though is one of my favourite episodes of Journeys. As we know,
Tableware, textiles, books. You can sell it all.
as we know, guys, Mewtwo is one of my favorite. It's my favorite legend of all time. And basically, in this episode, basically they get Mew readings coming from this island. But turns out it's not Mew there. It's Mewtwo. But it ain't just that. Go actually pulls out a Pokeball in front of Mewtwo, tries to catch him. But of course, we know Mewtwo doesn't. Well, Mewtwo likes to protect Pokemon that were abused by trainers. But however, Mewtwo and Ash and Go challenge each other, and Ash and Go have to fight Mewtwo, and Mewtwo demolishes them. So basically, it's only Pikachu and Cinderace versus Mewtwo. Pikachu gets one shot by Shadow Ball from Mewtwo, and after that, actually nearly while the cover comes out, they rush in. Mewtwo just grabs them on with the attacks, hits them up with the tail. Then after that, basically, after that, they rush in with more attacks. Mewtwo's having to hold Cinderace back, and when basically what it's in held back, Ash's running in there with double team. The Kai's running in there with double team with reversal. Mewtwo has to then knock it off. Then after that, they try a combo with a massive Pyro Ball, always there, and double team, and Mewtwo just puts up a barrier, shields itself from all the damage. Then after that, Mewtwo just creates one massive Shadow Ball, and they just get wrecked. But however, Mewtwo just keeps that tells in the full of their dreams, and Mewtwo usually would erase their memories, but Mewtwo let them keep their memories for this time of their encounter. So yeah, I really love Mewtwo, and this was a really good episode, and I love how it was the first movie Mewtwo as well. The one away from the first movie. Okay, what is next? What's the next episode? Oh, Eevee. So the episode where Chloe gets Eevee. It's crazy to think that Chloe only got Eevee very, only a year ago. Yeah. Eevee basically was a Pokemon at this lab where they were trying to make it evolve. But for some reason, this Eevee could not evolve for whatsoever reasons. Basically, because they knew Chloe needed to pick her path, Eevee was the same. Eevee wanted to pick her path. So at the end of the episode, Chloe catches the Eevee, which I think is awesome, and I think the reason why Eevee has not evolved is because I think it's going to be a Gigantamax Eevee, which we're going to see very soon, I think. Because after these next few episodes, the only Eevee you need to see is Sylveon, and the only person we know that has Sylveon is Serena. So yeah, I don't think it'll be too long until we get until the Gigantamax Eevee. But yeah, in terms of an episode, this for me was really nice. This was actually really nice because Chloe's been needing development for a while. So yeah, I think this can go here actually, because this is a nice development episode for Chloe. Okay, now we're on to, oh no, not this. No, I can't. These are the two worst episodes of Journey. Basically, in this episode, this takes place after episode 47, where they basically won the competition. They go to Unova, and all that happens is Lucario and Cinderace run around for 20 minutes with little clips of Ash and Go just sitting down, doing nothing. At the same time, Team Rocket is just flying around, and Cinderace and Lucario are just fighting. I don't know what happened in this episode, but it was bad. It was really bad. Okay, now we're on to the darkest day, because we've got all the episodes. Okay, so let's start with the first episode, this one here, this one. So, okay, so episode 1, basically, it starts with Rose at his power plant, basically starting off the darkest day. And basically, what's happening is that basically, while they're actually opening candle, actually Dynamax band starts glowing, and so after that, and this is Cerise gets notifications about what's going on, and actually have to go to Galar to locate what's going on. Well, basically, during even episode, Ash and Go get split up, and they both come across the respective legendaries. Ash comes across Station, and Go comes across Samazenta. These, of course, are illusions, or better known as, or basically mysterious. And basically, Ash and Go pass out. Because this is what happens in the game. This is where the spirits miss, and then you pass out. Go wakes up first, goes look for Ash, can't find him. And then after that, Ash wakes up, goes look for Go. And then after that, Ash goes to a town. But basically, this G-Max Center Scott is going on a rampage. And basically, Ash has to fight it with Pikachu, Dragonite, and Riolu. They manage to hold it off. And however, it's going to use G-Max Center Inferno, but out of nowhere, Leon comes down with his Charizard and takes it down with a Rock Tomb, and then basically, Ash and Leon decide to work together to stop this Dynamax thing. Well, at the same time, Go is with Sonia, and basically, Go calls up Ash, and after Ash picked up, Go gets pretty mad because Ash didn't pick up the entire time. Oh, I think that for the first, this was a pretty good first episode. Set up the basics, but yeah, it's pretty good. So for me, this can go here actually. Okay, now what we got? Now we're waiting on to the next part. This one, yeah. Okay, so part 2. I believe, yeah, it's part 2. So in part 2, a few things go around. First of all, Rose, this is the episode where Ash meets Rose for the first time after Ash and Leon take down a G-Max Colossal with Gengar and Leon's Dragapult, which is the first time we saw one of Leon's other Pokemon. And after that, Ash meets Rose. Leon is suspicious of Rose, and basically, yeah, Ash goes to goes and has dinner with Rose, while basically Leon goes off to find out what's going on. And at the same time, Go and Sonia are together, and they go to Magnoni's lab. And basically, while they're there, Go finds a wishing star, and basically Sonia creates Go a Dynamax brand. So yeah, Go can now Dynamax, and it comes in pretty handy because later at the end of the episode, which leads straight to the next episode, one of Rose's people show up, basically saying, you and the boy need to come with me now. And basically, after they refuse, he Dynamaxes, Gigantamaxes his Garbodor, and Go Dynamaxes Raboot, and then that's how the episode ends. So yeah, this is a really, I love this part. I actually love this part. I actually love it a bit more than the first part, you know. Because it just shows there's a lot of stuff. I think it's on the same level here, but I like it a little bit more, so I'm gonna put it above. But yeah, what's next? Well, yeah, we've got this part. Okay, so the next part, it's a few things. So first we'll continue up with G-Max Garbodor versus Raboot, and Raboot takes it down. And after that, the guy runs off, and then after that, more of them show up, and then however, Sonia and Go just run over them on foot. Then after that, we have a little joke with Sonia's car not starting, and then yeah, they get away. And basically at the same time, Leon has arrived in Hammerlock, where Rose's power plant is, and it turns out that Rose has activated a device that brings along the darkest day and the Pokemon Eternatus. And basically the Pokemon Eternatus basically breaks out and it goes on a rampage. Basically it goes onto the roof. And after that, they show up, Ash shows up, and basically Rose is there. Rose does an evil speech, and then after that Ash fights. Ash stays. Basically, Leon goes to the roof. Ash stays back and fights Rose, and it's Pikachu and Riolu versus Cobaraja and Ferrothorn. And at the same time, Sonia and Go has just arrived, and basically, as they go inside, surprise, surprise, Oleana is there, and she's gonna battle Go. And yeah, that's where the episode ends. And it's a pretty good, I like this episode well, honestly. Okay, now guys, the next episode is the last part, which I know exactly where this last part is going. Yup. A few reasons actually. So, reason 1. Ash finally gets Lucario, and one we've been waiting over 15 years for, till he finally gets it. Number 2, battles are really good in this episode. We have Raihan just wrecking the. I don't know what his name. I don't remember what his corporation is called again. I cannot remember what his name corporation is called. Then after that, that's the same one. We have Rabu versus Milotic, and goes is surrounded with Rabu, and it causes not to give up and evolves into Cinderace and defeats Oleana's Milotic. Ash defeats Rose. Leon's Charizard gets battered, but however, Leon tries to catch Eternatus, and yeah, it breaks out and goes on a rampage. Leon is down, so Leon can't take it down. Then after that, Ash and Go try to attack it with Cinderace, Pikachu and Lucario, but nothing is working, and it's about to give up. The rusty sword and shield glow, and the Zacian and Zamazenta are summoned, and together with Lucario, Cinderace and Pikachu, they finally defeat it, but Ash and Go catches Eternatus. Go catches a legendary. Of course, with Ash's help, Ash does help, but it registers to Go's Pokédex. So he technically he owns 2 legendaries. The second one you will know about soon. But yeah, and at the end of the arc, Rose actually escapes instead of being arrested, so he's gonna come back soon. He'll come back, and then basically the other part is basically Eternatus is sealed away, and then as you go back to Kanto. So yeah, this was a really nice arc, nice wrap up to the arc. Okay, what's the next episode? Ash versus the second match. So the second match comes after 5 episodes after the first match, which I felt the gap was a bit too close to the first match. They should have waited a little bit longer, but hey, basically Ash is training with his Pokemon, and then all of a sudden Go gets a battle notification about Bee, who's now ranked 193 in the anime, and she is in Johto. So Ash goes to Johto with Riolu and Pikachu and a junior to his team, and basically they come in with Bee fighting with Gym Leader Chuck from the Johto region, and the battle ends. No one is knocked out in that battle, so yeah, and basically Bee's like, oh, Riolu trainer. So yeah, Bee did not remember Ash's name, and basically they had a fight. Then basically the start of the rematch began. It was first Pikachu versus Hitmontop, which was a good starting matchup. And so basically in the rematch, Ash didn't use Fast, he used Pikachu instead, and Pikachu was actually able to overcome her Hitmontop and defeat it. So her Hitmontop went down, then Graplock came out, and Pikachu got wasted pretty fast, but Pikachu did manage to get a Thunderbolt off on Graplock, but then of course it Octo-locked and did the liquidation combo it did against Riolu in the first match. Then Riolu came back out, and Ash took a more ranged approach. This time, instead of rushing in close range, when basically Bee used liquidation, Ash used vacuum wave and hit the water back into Graplock's eyes. Then basically Ash waited for it to get close and Octo-lock, because Ash basically had a method of basically he was gonna use Graplock's pattern so Riolu could follow it, and then basically after that Ash is able to go for a powerful force palm and knock Graplock off of Riolu. Then after that, Riolu and Graplock are back in for attacks, and the final attacks are exchanged, and it's close combat and reversal, and they hit each other, and they both stay down. It is a draw. The second battle was a draw, and honestly, I love the idea that the second battle was a draw. I love that idea. Because Ash wasn't ready to win yet. I don't think he was ready to win yet. So yeah, I'm actually really happy it was a draw. And overall, this is definitely one of my favourite Journeys battles, because it didn't have to be complex or anything. Like, it's just a really good rematch. Probably not as good as the first match though. So I'm going to put it at 7, while the first match sits at 8. Now, we are on to, okay, the very, very big, controversial episode of episode 53. Episode 53 was a very controversial episode because Go caught a legendary Pokemon being Suicune. Okay? But I don't get why people were annoyed, because Go caught Eternatus. Go caught Eternatus in Darkest Days. I don't know why they were so annoyed about Ash, about Go catching Suicune. Basically the purpose of the episode was that the hunters were attacking a lake that Suicune was trying to clear, and then basically Suicune's being horribly abused by these Pokemon hunters. Go has to go throw the Pokeball and catches Suicune. And yeah, over the start of the episode, Ash ain't Go bonds and helps Suicune heal. And in the end, Suicune, the hunters come back. Ash and Go fight him, and then Suicune helps intervene, and Suicune takes down the hunters. But however, this is the big controversial part, I think. Suicune isn't released. It stays with Go, but it does roam the world. So it still roams, but it still undergoes ownership. So, this episode, what do I honestly think about it? And honestly, the Go Raiders can say mad all they want, but I don't really care they caught Suicune. Honestly, I don't mind he caught it. I'm gonna give it here, but I don't even mind him catching Suicune. Honestly, I thought it was deserved. Alright, so what's the next episode? Oh, it's the Ponyta and the Valentine's episode. Okay, okay. Alright, let's talk about this episode. So this episode's gonna basically start with them having a dream basically about them being in Galar, and basically in the street, Chloe comes across a ponytail and a Rapidash, and then they finally wakes up. She actually wants to go to this place, go to the Glimmer Tangle, which is the place where the Rapidash and Ponytail are, and let's go there. And go catch a Moralo, and yeah, so he actually make it seem like that the event didn't actually happen, but from that episode, these events were definitely confirmed to have happened. And basically, Chloe runs with this Ponyta and this Rapidash, and we all thought Chloe was gonna catch this Ponyta, but unfortunately, she never did catch it. And which is annoying because the intro showed us her with a Ponyta. But yeah, so she never actually captured it. And basically, in this episode as well, Ash and Go meet Opal, the bat. How to say the name of her gym? It's Bananlea, the Bananlea gym, and basically, Opal makes them wear pink stuff. And while this is happening, Chloe comes across a group of Impidimp, and they start attacking Chloe, but Evie steps in and just plays them. But yeah, overall, this was a pretty good development for Chloe, actually, to be fair. And I was just hoping in the future that she actually goes back for the Ponyta. Next episode, Sobble development. This was something that was something that was missing. This is something that was missing for a while. Sobble didn't have any development since capture. So I think that really welcomed that Sobble finally got some development. So basically, in this episode, Sobble is admiring an Inteleon, and it's seen, I don't remember if it was a magazine or the TV, one of those two. And well, basically, this lady with the Inteleon is actually currently in Vermilion. So basically, they go to Vermilion, and well, they come across the Inteleon doing a movie scene, and it's using its snipe shot to defeat these Pokémon. And Sobble gets admired. Team Rocket will show up, and Sobble's gonna be even more admired when her Inteleon just beats Team Rocket's Pokémon. But however, after the show ends, Sobble and the lady with the Inteleon actually lets Go and Ash sit with her for a little while because Sobble was admiring Inteleon. And later in the episode, Team Rocket comes back, and then he gets Ash and Go in a metal cage, and the only Pokemon free is Sobble. And so Go motivates, and after seeing Inteleon, Sobble is motivated, and it learns the move U-turn, and it helps break Ash and Go out of the cell, and Team Rocket gets them off flying. And this lady actually so big that she came back later on in Journeys, I believe I think around the, I don't remember when it was, but I know she came back. But honestly, overall, I think this was really nice. I thought this was a really nice episode for Sobble. Okay, what's the next episode? Second part of Farfetch's training arc. So yeah, I'm really happy. I'm really glad Farfetch got a nice arc. Because this is the second part. So basically, Ash and Go are training with Leaks, with Farfetch'd, and one of the other Pokemon. And basically, well, yeah, they're having a nice they're having a nice brawl, and basically Ash and Guy decide to go to the Castle of Chivalry in the Kalos region, and they meet the Elite Four level Rickstrom, and they do some training with him, and they do some little trials, and basically Ash and Farfetch Farfetch learn more about how much Ash really cares about it, and because in one of the scenes, Ash's Farfetch lost its leak, and then Ash was willing to sacrifice himself to get Farfetch's leak, and they started opening up, and this was really shown when they were fighting Rickstrom with swords, but also fighting Farfetch was fighting his Aegislash. As he saw Ash pinned up against the corner, he actually jumped in with his leak and protected Ash. And then after that, down to defeat his Aegislash. And yeah, this was a great episode. And at the end of the episode as well, Cypher is evolved into a Scizor. So overall, this was a really, really good episode for Farfetch. Alright, so guys, since this is getting quite long, we're gonna rank a few more episodes, then we're gonna have to split this into a second part, most likely. So let's just get into this next one, which is the Diglett episode. This Diglett episode was, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty bad. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Not really much happened. This was a farm, and they had to talk this guy with his Diglett, and then after that we had Go. Well, not release his phone, but he gave it away to someone, and basically just gave it away, and they had a battle with Team Rocket, and Team Rocket had no purpose to win in the episode. So yeah, there's not really much to say about it. Okay, oh God, the Grookey catch. Oh. This is something that still stings me now. This is my only issue with Go. This stings. Like, this really, for me, this stings. Because I really wanted Ash to get Grookey. I was someone who really wanted Ash to get Grookey, but Go got it, and honestly, Ash really should have got Grookey. All he had to do was just change Go with Ash in the episode, and then easily Ash would have had a starter, but nope. Cause it turned out the Grookey was from Team Rocket, and Go just stole the Grookey. Although he said Go stole something, but he did steal. He did kind of steal Grookey from Team Rocket, and yeah, he catch Grookey, and Grookey has been with him for over 30 episodes and has done nothing. Literally nothing. Longer than Sobble. Sobble, at least Sobble had development. Grookey has done nothing. I'm telling you, if Ash without Grookey would have done something by now. But they've done nothing with it. And oh my God, I got more. Oh my God, these next two are garbage as well. The turtle one is the second two part of that is bad as well. It's not as bad as the second one, but it's still bad. And the Psyduck episode, even though it's good development, even though it was good development for one of the lab assistants, basically nothing happened. Like, bro. So yeah, this little stretch of Journeys in the 50s was kind of weak in terms of episodes. The total episode, I don't even remember the full events of each of the episodes. That's how forgettable to me they are. they're so forgettable. I can't remember the events. But anyway, yeah, guys. Since this is so long, I'm gonna split this into 2 parts. So yeah. So we are now in the 60s. So we'll come back we'll probably come back in a week or two. We'll probably come back tomorrow. You know what? Yeah, we'll finish this up tomorrow, guys. So anyway, until the next video, I'll see you again very soon.